We're going to go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1. Today, Tuesday, November 9th, 2:30, and actually it's 2:35. The first item on the agenda is a call to order. And the second item on the agenda is a roll call.
We have Ms. Patricia Gober, Mr. Villasomia, Mr. Jose Castillo,
Present.
Mr. Orlando Navarro,
Present.
Mr. Henry Salvinier,
Here.
Mr. Jose Ceballos,
Here.
Ms. Carol Alexander. Mr. Chair, you do have a quorum.
Thank you. The third item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from October 12th. And just a note to everyone that is reviewing the minutes, there was some technical difficulty with the audio for the last meeting, and so it's somewhat of summarized. If the board members that were present would like to expand on anything that's there, I'm sure we would welcome any further explanation to anything. One immediate change that I would ask for is that we not only list in the call to order, Mr. Jose Ceballos is calling the meeting to order, but also list him as present. Are there any other comments?
Just a little more detail on item 5 on what we asked Able City to do. We essentially voted to have them put together a listing of work items within the scope of the project, and to come back to the board to discuss those and entertaining action on getting those done ahead of items that required the civil engineer. So a little more detail on that. I mean, it reflects it there, but the detail is that they would come back. We were looking for items that did not have to be delayed, that we could, initiate without civil engineering work.
Mr. Campos, was that good enough for you to expand on the minutes?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
So I do want to add something else. I'm sorry to interrupt. On the approval of the minutes, I did not add who did the motion. I do have that in my notes, but I will be adding that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Do any other board members have any comments related to the minutes of the last meeting?
What was the issue fixed?
I'm sorry.
You couldn't hear the audio? Is that what was going on?
No, the video, it did not record on the conference room, the third floor.
Gotcha.
Okay, sensing no other comments or revisions, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let the minutes also, let the current minutes also reflect that Assistant City Manager Ria Mia has arrived. Welcome.
Thank you.
We've just right now gone to review the minutes of the last meeting. The next item on the agenda is item 4, citizen comments. Citizens are required to fill out a witness card no later than 2:45, and they can be found at the City Council chambers. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No more than 3 persons are allowed to speak on any side of an issue. Speakers may not pass their minutes to another speaker. Comments should be relevant to city business and delivered in a professional manner. No derogatory remarks will be permitted. Anything? I don't think you noted to me that anybody had signed up.
Correct. We have not received any.
Very good. Next item on the agenda is item 5, discussion with possible action regarding the project development agreement between the City of Laredo and the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1 document as prepared. Board member comments regarding the information presented and any other matters incident thereto. I think under this item, which covers the agreement and everything, let me go ahead and turn the floor over to Mr. Ceballos, who requested the information so that we can hear from Able City. I just want to put into context what you requested, so we cover that correctly in the minutes, these current minutes of what we're going to be getting from Able City.
Okay, so what we asked Able City to prepare was to look at our scope and pull out items that did not require the civil engineers be involved. As an example, monuments, murals, anything that was not. And the reason for that was to basically try to get ahead of the civil engineering design time and to get those mobilized sooner than that other schedule. And at that meeting, Frank covered the timeline for design and for implementation and getting into construction, which is what I guess he's now sharing the list of items.
Okay, thank you. Franco, Viviana, do you want to go ahead and speak to the information you've presented?
Sure. Is this working? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
So, just starting from the beginning, we're looking at different lighting features that we can begin to put a package together for bid, for design and for bid is street lights that would go from building to building. We're not talking about the street lights in the trees because that requires the work that is going to be done as part of the street improvements to bring in the utilities for that. But if we're thinking about crossing from building to building, there's certain areas that we can do that. And not in all areas because we don't have high enough buildings, but we can start talking to finding the locations, looking at which ones we want to do, and then talking to the property owners to set up a kind of memorandum of agreement that says we can attach, maintain, all of those things. So that's one thing. There's also the architecture feature lighting, which is the building that we kind of, it's New York Apparel. It's the one with the Doric columns on top with the
Right.
lights. We can also talk to that property owner and figure out if we can come up to a memorandum of understanding to actually do that project. And then there's, while we're doing this, of course, we can see if other feature lighting comes up that might be helpful in pursuing, especially when it comes to the murals and how we would like the murals and all of that. So, you want to take the second one in terms of the wayfinding?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, well, and you did ask us kind of for a menu, so that's why we broke it up into these 4 categories. The wayfinding branding, and it's nice to see that we have Conventions and Visitors Bureau here, because this is something that we met with your subcommittee on between the last meeting and this meeting, because they have an ongoing project that we might be able to coordinate or at least be able to be speaking with each other on. And so one of the ideas I came up was in a historic fashion, looking at bringing the street signs back to the buildings themselves. You'll see that in a lot of European cities. You'll see it in New Orleans, and actually you'll see it, remnants of it around the Center for the Arts. There's still a few buildings that have those remnants. So that could be one possible type of project that we can develop with you all.
Especially in the historic districts.
Sure.
Where there's a historic overlay, we can do that.
Historic districts in relationship to the TIRZ project as well.
Right.
And of course, then there'll be more out there signage like along I-35, and that's something I think we talked with CVB with. And then these are all, we highlighted the areas where this can possibly be happening. In addition to wayfinding and branding, we could also visit the idea of banners in the downtown district, particularly around the TIRZ area. There are some remnants of that also. I know a few years back, Main Street had put up a series of banners around downtown, kind of celebrating its history under the name Saints and Generals. So there could be another kind of campaign, depending on if you'd like us to develop that with you all. And then that can easily be put up and quickly put up and quite frankly, not very expensive either. I mean, those are not, high ticketed items.
Also, developing a bracket that would be used all the time, that is the, and how they would be put up
And changed out.
And changed out and all that.
So that's under wayfinding branding. Under placemaking monuments, we've discussed that before. We had some examples of that in the package, the design package that's going to be going out on those monument signs, particularly on Zaragoza Street, on Ed Street, at Tabrida Street as well. Those can be done independently of the civil engineering project that's about to be RFQ'd by the city. And then, of course, the mural projects. The mural project can run concurrently and independently of this city project as well. And coordinating that and coming up with, the locations as well as engaging the artists, and that can be started as well. So again, we kind of broke it up into lighting, wayfinding, branding, placemaking, and murals.
Thank you. So let me go ahead and open the floor up to comment from the board members.
My comments are, as it relates to the placemaking monuments, I'd like to see those, for us to come maybe within the next, between now and the next meeting, come back with concepts to really get to production on those quickly, decide on a concept and mobilize into production. But I think there's even some lower hanging fruit in terms of lighting, but I'm not quite sure how low hanging that is or how quickly we could do that.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Please.
This year, we did fund a traffic department to replace a lot of those traffic signal, which are old poles, to have a new traffic poles. Maybe if you can reach out to Danny McGee, and as part of the poles they order, maybe we'll already have those hangers to put in the banners.
So they've been ordered already?
They are working on it. I don't think they are ordered. These are the street, the traffic signals.
Right. And they're replacing the
Mostly
green
the
ones?
wooden poles gonna be replaced. I know a lot of those wooden poles are old, so we are replacing also some of the old steel poles with the controller.
So do you think there's time to be able to assist them in the design, in the look of them, what style and all of that? Or not anymore?
I'm sure they are. I don't,
You know,
I
okay,
didn't see an agenda item to ordering those poles yet, so
Okay.
I'm sure they are working on it.
it's kind of important because we're, with this is also the design guidelines, which is gonna be the segue to all of this. So that, well, they're actually standards, so that they become incorporated into the historic design guidelines for downtown. And that way, they're referred to anytime something is replaced or changes.
Okay, I'll advise Danny McGee, so just reach out to him.
So then, I think it's an action item that we understand, right? We'll let, you let them know that we're gonna be calling them.
Yes.
And then but you'll follow up with actually reaching out. Very good. And I think also, that's one, and then the other one with the monument, the placemaking monuments.
There's one other item. So on October 21st, we met with Aileen and Joel. Joel is present here, and we talked about collaborating on this wayfinding opportunity, and it was a very productive meeting. I think all minds agreed on working together and in some sort of subcommittee, and working with our consultant, Sable City, to come up with something that gelled both for TIRZ and also for tourism and other things that are of interest for CBB. So I think that work can roll out in a, if you agree, Mr. Chair, in a subcommittee. I think that would work great. Everybody was excited to kind of unveil that too, so I think that's a good opportunity.
I was sorry not to be able to attend that meeting, but I heard productive comments from both TIRZ members that were there as well as from Aline herself. Very good. Any other comments to this list?
Just quickly, were we proposing to close Aldo to Tangelo walkway? It's gonna stay open for vehicles?
One way.
It was never discussed, what we're proposing to do is level it, so,
Remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it could be either driven on or walked on, but it would be level.
They do close them on weekends.
On weekends, yeah, I mean, I think they've been doing that on Friday and Saturday nights.
I think that option probably stays there because it already exists. But we had not discussed in any of the planning changing the street itself or any of the streets and the directions or the times that they're open or closed.
I just remember you guys were remodeling or redoing
Yes.
it, so I thought maybe we were gonna shut it down and maybe put some seating or something like that, okay.
Because the idea being that, and I think that's a good point, but the idea there being to level it so that it doesn't become a tripping hazard, the tripping hazard it is today.
Would you all agree that the mural project maybe should be part of that wayfinding subcommittee, or do you want to handle that independently? As I know the mural concept has been on the floor for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
But
And the board member, it was brought up by a former board member with a good point in that this becomes some of that low-hanging fruit we talk about that you can start doing now and we start seeing results for. The question is, what does it fall under? And you're suggesting that it falls under?
well, I'm just saying so we can actually entertain some locations, because I don't think we're prepared to do that today.
Right.
And it has to happen in between meetings so that, we can actually vote on locations and how much are we gonna dedicate to each mural? Who will be, actually commission and how that's gonna be done.
Let me ask the city, if any of the city board members know how murals have been handled in the past in the downtown area.
I know each mural, we enter a professional service contract with the artist. Sometimes we pay for the material, they provide the labor, sometimes it's the whole thing. But I know most of them went through a request for proposal and they submit their art, what they would do and the proposal, and then we bring it to council.
How were the sites determined?
The sites are, I think, all predetermined. At that time, I know downtown was by council member.
So maybe then we do work with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, as you suggest, to identify, because the budget had proposed, if I'm not mistaken, anywhere from 4 to 5 of those. And what we'll work with, reach out to the department and ask them to see if they can help with the coordinating of locations. Is that?
Yeah, well, I think it kind of matches the whole wayfinding concept too.
And then from there, follow the procedure that the city's been following.
So,
The CVB has their hand up, can they,
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
go ahead and come forward.
So there is a arts commission, Arts and Culture Commission.
Your name for the record, please.
For the record, Joel Vasquez, I'm the Assistant Director for the Laredo Convention and Visitors Bureau. There is a Arts and Culture Commission that it's right now, we're working, CVB is working with the library in the transition, and that's gonna be based on a council approval. We need to do the transition. But they're the ones that really handle they have already a committee where they already looked at locations on where they're gonna do murals, and then they actually find who's gonna be the artist, and they do all that. There's a process that they already have in place.
Perfect.
So I would recommend for you guys to work with that committee, and so not do the double work, but see what's the process, what's the way to do it. Eileen Ramos, my director, and then Maria Solis, the director for the library, are the ones that are overseeing that right now. But eventually, it's gonna be, once it's approved by council, it's gonna be a transition to CVB, it's gonna be under our umbrella. But in the meantime, right now, it's both of them that are, or Maria Solis is the one that overseeing that. But they already have a committee, they meet, I think, monthly as well, and
Is
they,
this, I'm sorry to interrupt, is this citywide or is this down?
this is citywide.
This is citywide?
Citywide, yes, that's correct.
So if we worked, coordinated and said specifically addressing the area that we're talking about, then you can also provide us that information and.
Yes.
And help us with that.
And I think most likely the committee, that committee will be in charge of that because they, I don't know how they do to allocate for funding as well. So it would be looking at, funding as well, like.
We allocated to the TIRZ
Okay.
some funding, not, I don't,
So it
it's yet
behooves
to
them
be
to work
determined.
with us.
Yeah,
As we have the
so
money.
we can help with that that
Okay,
project.
perfect.
Uh,
Which is
But
better.
again, not necessarily, I don't know if it's necessarily fully funding, but then we've been talking about working with the city on it whenever you have a project that coincides with what the TIRZ is working on, so that we share expenses and things like that, of that nature, then that would work out perfectly. But we do have some money budgeted for that, and that would be perfect.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot easier and a lot smoother for the process to go because you guys already have money allocated.
And we don't wanna, duplicate
Yeah.
efforts.
Yeah. So I'll mention to Eileen, what the idea that you guys have and see, how the both committees could work and then we'll take it from there.
So,
Yeah, do you think we could potentially have one project or two identified by the end of the year? Is it possible or is that too quick?
I'm not sure, cause I haven't really been going to the meetings, so I don't know how, I know they meet monthly, but I don't know how they're doing on the projects and what things they have, but I definitely will share that with her and hopefully she could share that in the next meeting to the board and definitely allocate one or two locations in our
I
downtown.
would even encourage this, and I don't know how far along and how much work has been done, but I would even not wait till the next meeting if you have information that's already available, so that at the next meeting, instead of saying, yeah, we can work with you, it could be, we can work with you and this is what we know already about
Yeah.
location. If that information's available, why not begin to discuss it already? Because the idea of this list here that we've been reviewing is to tackle a low-hanging fruit before the major projects begin, and this is one of them. And as we're saying, we want to see something started before the end of the year.
Yeah,
So if you take that back,
yes,
we would
definitely I will.
appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, I will relay that message and to both Ms. Solis and Ms. Ramos. And then if we already have something, we'll definitely share it with Tina and so they could present it here to you guys as well.
Very good.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
What council enacted an ordinance and that any future bond, they are putting 2% on the arts. And so that's why they are working on this arts master plan, so in future, when there is funding available, they will assign the money.
Right.
So there is already a dedicated funding because of that ordinance council enacted.
Excellent. Yes, comments?
Yes. I just wanted to remind the board that there were, I believe, 4 locations already approved tentatively by the board, and I can bring that to the next meeting so that you can see where they were.
I know what you're talking about in that presentation, but I never thought of it as approving a location. I saw it as proposed locations.
Well, they're proposed,
Yeah,
but they're, obviously you have to work with the property owners.
right,
They're proposed.
very good.
Do you
And-
want me to
but we
give
need to
that?
share, we need to
Yeah,
share
sure.
it, yeah, let's share that, so that you have an idea of where, there were thoughts that were put together during the proposal, again, not yet necessarily approved. What was approved was the fact that we have a mural program. Any other comments?
I mean, just, maybe belaboring the item, but are we going to need an agreement, a legal agreement to put these murals on private property? Should we get ahead and try to get a draft?
Yes, I mean, we can work on that. We can see if it's private property. I would have to consult with legal department to see how we would be allowed to work on a private
Aren't
property.
a couple of the murals downtown on private property?
So some of them have been, yes, some of them are, and one of them is on city property.
So if we could use that as the model, however it is you worked with the property owner.
I'll reach out to the committee to the department that handled that mural.
And the idea being so that, again, if the more we do ahead of time, the easier it will be as we get to that point, not have to then at the next meeting say, let's prepare a draft of the agreement. If we have a model for it, let's get it.
Okay.
Good point. Thank you. Jose. Any other comments related to the presentation that Able City has made?
So what would be next? I mean, like, for example, stringing up the lights, that's something that's very doable. Are we putting a timeline to that? Are we saying we would like to do that? We're buying the lights already? Because this is separate from the actual construction that the engineering and city is gonna do, so.
I would lean on Able City to come back with a proposal where they would be and how that would be carried out, and then ready for us to take action. I
Have
know.
them up before Christmas or something, you know? I don't know.
Yes.
That might also require another agreement because these are on private buildings.
So maybe using a similar model, whether it be we're using art or hanging lights, but all the more reason to get that agreement.
Some sort of agreement.
Like also, Mr. Alvaro's pointing out timeline, like the monument on Zaragoza. Do we have access to that design?
What?
The one we're replicating?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
We have it.
So we can put that also on a construction schedule as
Sure.
well? Okay.
Well, at least the drawings for sure, and then we can have it, yeah.
So is there an item here that would require more than 30 days design time from you all side, that we couldn't do it?
Yes.
Frank is saying yes, which one?
Well, I mean, the wayfinding branding will be based on what you all just
Right.
talked about, would be a
Committee work.
subcommittee with CVP, you all, us, so I don't think that's gonna,
Okay.
that will, and also remember, we're setting a precedent for future, so I think that we shouldn't rush that through,
Okay.
and we should work collectively on that. I think the lighting we can put together for the next meeting.
The lighting and the monument sign, well, like the one on Iturbide Street, I think for the next meeting, we can prepare the ones that you saw, plus another couple of options that you can look at and say,
And then vote on that. But
And
the,
then, and
the,
then, and then, as you mentioned, the art would be kind of, again, with a broader collection of groups, so.
But I hear now, based on Mr. Cevallos' comment, I hear a yes to, we can have something on the string lighting with the proposed site, the monument signage on Iturbide and Zaragoza, and I think immediately if we had something like for that next month,
right,
I would feel
that's good.
we've taken a step forward.
I agree.
Parallel to that will be your conversations with CVB on the mural and wayfinding.
yeah,
Very good. Any other comments related to, I think this is a significant task
there.
due next month. Okay. Any other comments?
Just share the concepts as early as you have them. Don't wait till the meeting so we can give you feedback.
Well, if you'd like to organize a subcommittee meeting prior to the next meeting, if that's up to you.
I don't think so.
You can share it with us and then we'll
Yes.
send blank CC each of them so they just, you
Okay.
can
Yeah.
collectively get like individually comments on them without
I
forming
think
quorum.
that's the best way to go.
Yeah.
However,
So
That
they
way
can all see
the
it
month
and-
the meeting doesn't arrive and we haven't had a subcommittee meeting.
That's correct.
Let's just do it.
no, design.
Now on this, on the subcommittee for the wayfinding and the mural, do y'all wanna vote on who's in that subcommittee or y'all just gonna let,
It's a very good point. Do we have volunteers serving on that committee? We can have no more than 3. I'd like to be on the committee.
And I always suggest Carol for wayfinding because I think she's, was instrumental in creating
I
a
agree.
pathway, so
I'd like to appoint Carol to that as well, Carol Alexander.
And Goldberg, Ms. Goldberg?
That fine with everybody?
fine with that.
Patricia Goldberg. That'll teach him not to attend the meeting.
We'll relay the message, Chairman.
Okay, very good.
Well, should we make it into a motion and as well include CVB officially? Is that? I'll make a motion to that effect that Ms.
We invite.
Alexander and Ms. Goldberg, along with our chairman, be part of that committee, join with our consultants with Able City and Convention Visitors Bureau representatives.
There's
And
been a
invite.
motion, is there a second to the
And
motion?
invite Convention and Visitors Bureau.
And invite Convention Visitors Bureau. Thank you.
Thank you.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Very good. Okay, the next, are there any other issues related to item 5 that need to be brought up at this time?
So we won't forget. Those are my notes.
Sensing none, we'll go on to item 6, discussion with possible action regarding the monthly invoice submitted by Able City. Able City, you have not submitted an invoice.
Thank you.
No, I think there's a threshold of hours, like a minimum that we meet, and we haven't met them, so we're not billing you, if that's okay.
No, and I would like to say it's okay, but I think for peace of mind,
Yeah.
it's 2 months, and we did ask at least on a monthly basis to
Sure.
get it. So, yes, even if it's a minimum,
Okay.
even if the postage stamp costs more.
There's a few hours, but I mean,
Okay.
we hear your message. We will have one for you at the
Thank you,
December meeting.
I appreciate it.
I want to thank Community Development as well. I haven't mentioned their name, but they host us, they coordinate all our meetings, and they're very important to our role and as a TIRZ. Thank you guys for all you do for this group.
I want to echo that, Jose. You know, we remember most of what we remember thanks to their note taking. So that's a good thing. And also, you know, and I've said this, and I haven't just said it, elected officials and as well as the city manager's office, Tina, over and over. You know, you've all just done an excellent job of keeping us in order and in line, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Staff is,
All of you, the entire team.
yes, staff is doing a
I have some items that I'm hoping we can bring up at the next meeting. And we usually go to meetings and we know these things, but to say it at this public forum, I think it's important. But the Plaza Theater schedule, how that's coming along. I know we all sit in the Plaza Theater meetings, but we don't say it here at the TIRZ meeting. I think it's important that we just kind of talk about that and have it on record here at this meeting for the future. Anyway,
So Edgar, would you make sure that we note that for the next agenda meeting? Because, staff is pretty good about sending me the draft agenda and asking what else should be added to the agenda. And I do work from memory, and so far it's been a pretty good memory, but yeah, there are some items that I forget. And I think this is one that, I don't want to forget this one, and so we'll make sure we'll add for an update there. I'll also comment, asks staff to post a notice of possible quorum. The date that the city council will be having its workshop on the conference and convention center. Because I know, first of all, city staff will probably be attending. And then I know there are board members here that are interested. So there may be possible quorum. I believe that's on the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken.
correct. And the times are not,
Posted yet?
posted yet, but
Okay.
it might be,
When was it last time it was the one for the prior workshop that was related to the bridge ended up being about a 5-hour meeting.
yes, it started at noon, so I think they're looking at a possible noon or 3 PM.
Starting at noon or 3? Okay,
Correct.
very good.
the other item was, do we know if there was an update by AEP on the LED lighting for the downtown area? Do we know if they've completed that?
If the city's completed what, sorry?
AEP was gonna retrofit the city lighting downtown with LED, and they were systematically going throughout the city doing it. Just wanted to get an update on that.
Yes, I can, the contract we had with AEP, about 6,800 lights, all the major thoroughfare, they completed that. So now we are negotiating a second phase that will convert rest of the lights in all over the city. And so I'm waiting for the contract, hopefully can bring it in December or January council meeting.
Cool.
So that will be entire 13,000 lights for city of Laredo, everything will be converted to LED.
And then lastly, have you all done a tour at night to see the plaza lights in the downtown area? Some new lights have been put in?
Have they?
Yes, but they're spotlights.
Oh, so you're asking us to go see them?
Yeah, go see.
Okay. At the plazas,
I thought it was gonna be lights that were gonna light up the trees, you know?
but
they're-
instead,
They're spotlights that are pointing down. I don't know if that's what people were envisioning. Have you seen them?
so,
Drive around.
Around where? Where is it?
Bruni Plaza and St. Peter's were the two that I saw at night.
Are
Is
there
this,
floodlights or what are
Yeah.
they? Okay.
And so it really didn't, it wasn't the lighting I thought was gonna be in there. It does light up everything. If that's what everybody wanted, that's what you got, but, yeah, you might wanna look at it.
there's lighting and there's lighting.
Yeah.
So maybe, so that we can
And
see what works for
Exactly,
our project. yeah.
especially for that reason.
Yeah.
If you can't change what exists or alter it, certainly we can control what comes next. Or attempt to recommend what comes next. Very good. Any other comments? Items? No more items because they're not on the agenda, so these would just be comment related rather than action related. Sensing nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. We will see you in December. What's the date of the December meeting?
One quick second, the next meeting is gonna be December 7th at
Dec-
5:30.
December 7th at 5:30. Remember, it's not 2:30, 5:30. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate your coming to the meeting. Meeting adjourned. So, we need to discuss that.